welcome back to the Four League Report. I would like to introduce my new co-host, Rich Datello. Rich has
What up?
been uh, a great guest on my show and on Zach's and Pete's and Ray's pod, The Kingdom. But I'm very happy to announce that Rich is going to be a partner and co-host of mine for basically everything that we do media wise going forward on the Four League Report. Rich, go
Stoked.
ahead and yeah, man.
Dude, I'm stoked. Been talking sports with you for years. Been a fine guest on the Kingdom. Been a fine guest here. Looking forward to talking sports with you, my boy.
Yeah, man, me too. And
Excited.
I'm very excited, and I think we're doing this at a great time. Football season's coming around.
Perfect.
We're gonna have hockey and basketball starting up again before you know it, and then we're already kind of getting to playoff push here in baseball.
Couldn't be a
Um,
better time.
right? So I think there's a lot of awesome opportunity here that we can do together, and not only with this podcast, but expanding maybe to other things one day too. So look out for
Exciting, bro.
future news from us in the future. But for now, we're just going to focus on the flagship podcast. Um, so we've got a lot to get to right now since the
Tons.
last episode, and I've been out sick, so I haven't been able to be on. You could hear it in my voice still. It's been kicking my butt. It's the worst that I've been sick in years. But we're back and we have a lot to get to. So the Lakers ownership fight has gone from messy to outright hostile. We touched on that in the last episode. Jeannie Buss kind of backstabbing her siblings when they sold to Mark Walter, fired all her siblings, and, the trust broke apart. And the fallout from this Mark Walter sale is getting worse by the day because her siblings then backstabbed her and attempted to sell their share of the Lakers, which would mean that she would no longer be governor. And it's just crazy, bro, because now like she's blocking it and trying to retain governance rights, and it's a whole can of
Uh,
worms.
Dude, from like a simple man's point of view, it's like she wants out but doesn't want to not be involved anymore. It's the oddest thing I've ever seen.
It is very weird the way that they've gone about it. I think it's just so much infighting and so much chaos. There's nothing that's come out of this that's made any sense.
Well,
And
and I think it doesn't make sense because I almost think there's details and parts of it that we're not going to know and the public's never going to know about.
most likely, at least for now, because I just think it's so bad and it would be a PR nightmare if a lot of it got out.
Absolutely.
Um, and on top of that, Mark Walter being an integral part of this Laker sale is under investigation for essentially misappropriation of funds. And
Yeah,
now the Dodgers, who he's the majority owner of, are, and they're the crown jewel of the sport, as we know. They've essentially built the dynasty, and they're
correct.
suddenly now a part of this same story. And, you know, the Walters financial investigation paints the Dodgers dynasty in a very different light now. There are some analysts out there, including, I know a lot of people don't like Bill Simmons. I like Bill Simmons. There are many other
I
people
like Bill
than
Simmons.
him that are even saying like, hey, they might even be forced to sell the team now, or he may even be forced to sell the Dodgers, I should say.
Dude, and what impeccable timing with with a lockout looming, with a potential championship looming for LA.
Yep.
This all comes about. It, for us fans that are looking at the Dodgers as today's evil empire, right? We're all sitting back like, yeah, you're about to get what's coming to you.
Yeah, for real. And nobody, you know, nobody's gonna care or feel bad, I should say, for the
No,
Dodgers
not
because
at
yeah,
all.
they brought this upon themselves. Um, he essentially used his own insurance companies that he owned to lend him, $1.5 billion to, I don't even know how much money it's. I have it down in my notes. I'll have to look later. And
Crazy number.
he essentially had a closed loop financial ecosystem with all of that being, loopholes, misappropriation of funds, really,
Right.
that was being used to build the Dodgers. And it's
Crazy.
it's crazy, man. So now you have, all these questions now about the Dodgers and their payroll, and if that happens, listen, if
Yep.
that happens, I read today, Shohei Ohtani, he has a clause in his contract that if Mark Walter was no longer the primary owner of the Dodgers, that he can opt out the same year.
Wow. I didn't
Yep.
know that.
So that would,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
So that's a little tidbit of information that a lot of people aren't reporting right now, but we're reporting it. And
Yeah, that's not
get
being talked
ready.
about.
No, it's not being talked about because this sale seems like at this point it just seems like it's going to happen, right? Walter has, and let me go down to my notes here. The Lakers sold, right? Um,
Yep.
Chelsea FC stake is selling at the
Selling.
moment. Okay. Blue Co stake selling. Dodgers TV deal attempted renegotiation with their charter. The pattern here is liquidation, restructuring, and offloading of assets. Now, why would somebody do this? Somebody would do this to prepare for the hell that's going to be rained down upon them by the judicial system. And
Yeah.
not only that, he's going to probably end up doing prison time, much like Bernie Madoff did. We know how that ended up, right? What team was affected directly by Bernie Madoff? The New York Mets.
Yep.
And, you know, so this looks like it's something that's absolutely going to happen. The fact that it coincides with this looming lockout just makes it even more of a spectacle. I mean, we thought we were going to have enough on our plate talking about the salary cap and the floor and what the players are going to agree to and what the owners are.
Just got
It's
a
like a
lot uglier.
it's
A
like a
lot
whole
uglier.
new layer now. It's like, and part of me makes me wonder, like, did the owners in Major League Baseball have any hint that something like this was going down? Because
Yeah,
the timing is just really interesting to me.
it
You
is,
know,
and bro, you have to think, even if it's not all of them, like at least the big time guys, like they all talk. They all talk. Ownership groups talk. The guys that spend the big money, the guys in LA, the guys in New York, all the big market owners, they definitely all talk and they know what's going on.
right,
They have to. They have to know what's going on.
right, and
And you're right, the timing is so impeccable. Like we have a lockout looming, and if you add more layers to this lockout, it's just gonna prolong it. It's just gonna make it longer.
yeah, and then the parties that are purchasing the Lakers, Bob Iger and it was Kushner, right?
Yep.
Kushner had a FIFA deal that collapsed 2 weeks prior to this whole Lakers sale. I mean, that would
Yeah.
have been, I don't know how much Kushner's sitting on, but to buy a part of FIFA seems like it would cost a lot of money to me.
You gotta have something.
Right. So just the timing of all these things are so strange. I can never remember another time in the
Where yeah.
history of sports where you have all these different layers going on at the same time across multiple sports
Yep.
even. And it's insane. I think it's unprecedented, and there are a lot of people that are reporting on it, but the big media outlets are not reporting on it because I
They're
think that
not.
there's too much at stake. They have partnerships with this league. The league wants this stuff swept under the rug.
Yep.
The NBA and Major League Baseball both. So, the NBA approved the sale instantly to of the Lakers to Iger and Kushner. They approved it instantly. What does that say?
instantly.
That says that they want to get out from the whole Mark Walters thing as fast as humanly possible, right? That's
Yep.
not exactly the right way to do business, but from their standpoint,
No, and it's not a good sign if the NBA wants no part of it. Period.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, so listen, like again, he might actually go to prison, Walter.
He might.
That's it's very serious. It's essentially it's a Ponzi scheme, right?
Yeah.
He's playing with his own assets. There's a impropriety occurring. There's a what do you call it? A conflict of interest would be the best way to put it, right? You
Definitely a
can't
conflict of interest.
have your insurance companies. Okay, here it is right here, right? $1.45 billion media debt loop. Okay. So the Dodgers owned American media company borrowed basically $1.5 billion from 5 life insurance companies that Mark Walter owns. So essentially, Walter is the lender and the borrower in what happened here. That's obviously a huge conflict of interest. So it created this closed circuit financing ecosystem where he could report money to all different kinds of places and take advantage of loopholes. The other
Yep.
thing, the Dodgers under Walter secured an $8.35 billion media rights deal from a company that they own. Okay, so they set the terms of the TV deal, the interest, the payment schedule. It's a it's a huge racket that they had going on here, man, and
Yeah.
technically still have going on, right?
Still
Because
have going. Yeah, it's still happening.
right, so this
Crazy.
this is crazy, and
It's
I know
crazy.
there are going to be a lot of questions about what happens to the Dodgers payroll. They have a $1.5 billion, all this deferred money that they owe to these
Yeah, the
players.
deferred money is insane,
So
dude.
it's a billion, it's 1.6 billion through 2047.
Like,
Um,
and back, not to cut you off, but back to when you said like Shohei's got that thing in his contract, right?
yeah.
He opts out. What happens to all that deferred money?
So what happens to the deferred money is it becomes void because if he opts out, he voids the rest of his contract.
Right.
Now, would he do it? I don't know. All I know is that why is it in there? Why would that be a clause?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's crazy to me that that's even a thing in there.
So you have to look at it one of two ways. It's insurance for him just in case an owner comes in that he doesn't like, or
Fair.
that he had much more going on with Mark Walter, and this was a way. This was a way for him to escape it if anything had turned south.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
you could even turn it back to the scheme a year and a half ago with him and his agent with the fucking gambling thing.
yeah, listen, there's a lot to be made of that still. I still don't think that we know everything.
Yeah,
And I think there was plenty of evidence that showed that it needed to be investigated further. There were journalists that did investigate it to the extent that it should have been, and they found a lot of problems, a lot of big problems. And
a lot.
Shohei Ohtani is lucky to be playing baseball in the United States right now
Very
because
lucky.
the Major League Baseball and I mean I don't know how far to reach with it. I'll just say confidently Major League Baseball covered up for this. And
Absolutely.
there was way too much money to be made with Shohei here than in Japan.
If it was anybody but Shohei, I don't know if he'd be playing baseball today.
Yeah, it's probably not, right? Because, you know, all the money that's been brought in from Japan. If it's an American born
Sure.
player, Major League Baseball doesn't care. They'll replace you. They have their fan base in
They'll
America
print
anyway.
another. They'll print another one.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So, the MLB revenue sharing loophole, MLB charges 34% tax on local revenue. Teams could deduct interest paid on media debt. So the Dodgers created debt, paid interest to themselves, deducted it, kept more money, and then spent more. So that is the Dodgers' current, um, basically way of doing business, right?
Yeah,
And that's
that's how
what
they do it.
has allowed them to build the team the way they have. So, um, let's go into a little bit of what I believe would happen. So a lot of people, like for instance, your brother in the group chat today, Matt, was asking, well, what happens to all this deferred money that the Dodgers owe all these players? The answer is simple. Um, Whoever buys the Dodgers simply has to foot the bill.
Yeah,
That
that's
those
true.
are baseball contracts, as you know, are guaranteed. Okay.
Yeah.
These are not football contracts where only the guaranteed money matters. You can't just cut these players. You still have to pay them, right? That's why we
Hmm.
have things like Bobby Bonilla Day, right? Because
My favorite day of the year.
and Rick DiPietro, where the Islanders just paid him his last deferred payment for his contract this year.
Yep.
Um, Whoever buys the Dodgers they're gonna be on the hook for it. Now,
Yeah, they're responsible.
does this now open the door for huge enterprise company to now be a major player in a professional sports team because they would be able to easily handle the Dodgers payroll, right? Um, I think in the future, I don't know how far down in the future, we're going to have leagues that are owned by huge corporations, right? They're not going to be privately owned leagues anymore. And
Right.
this could end up being a step towards that because of the amount of money that we're talking about here, because of the complications that would come with a restructured CBA after this season. So to me, it's not a question of what's going to happen with the Dodgers payroll. The Dodgers payroll is the Dodgers payroll.
Right. It
It's
is what it
it's
is.
it is what it is. It's more of a question of who can buy the Dodgers now
And take that on.
and take that on because that's a lot. That's a lot of money compared to the rest of professional baseball,
Yeah.
especially in deferred money. So, um, listen, you could say, well, inflation is going to make future payments cheaper. $1 billion is $1 billion. Okay. So, yeah,
Yeah, it is.
inflation in 2047, $1 billion will probably be more like a $500 million. Okay, I get it. Sure, you win that
Sure.
argument.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting about Ohtani. If Ohtani decides to walk, the whole landscape of baseball changes along with the
Changes.
CBA.
Absolutely.
So,
And if he decides to walk, and if it's out there that, while they're in this, if they're selling the team, if the team goes up for sale, right? And it's
mhm.
out in the open that Otani's open to walking away or thinking about walking away, that hurts the value of the team, in my opinion.
Oh, it would massively affect the value of the team.
Yeah.
Now, one could argue, well, the Dodgers have been a winning team. They have the best fan turnout in baseball the last 10, 15 years.
And they have that
Um,
argument.
all of those things would keep them, and the Los Angeles market, we're talking about a very valuable team, probably
Maybe,
even
maybe,
without
maybe, maybe the
Ohtani.
most valuable team in the sport.
Probably. I can't argue that now because part of the value has to include the contracts that they
Yes.
have on their plate. So it's tough to argue that. I think they are the most valuable um team in the league. And just a little bit more from this like charter TV deal that I haven't touched on yet. Walter approached Charter to unwind $300 million a year from the TV deal. That's another little tidbit in this whole thing. That's highly unusual that suggests
Sure.
a lot of financial pressure. It's just more of the same in this conversation, how he's basically scurrying right now financially to get things in order to make the hit that he's about to take a lot less harsh, if that's even possible. But
Yeah. He
um,
didn't bury himself enough already.
I want to be clear. My opinion, and I don't know about you, but my opinion is that, you know, the Dodgers still won on the field. Okay. The dynasty was built on loopholes and internal debt and deferred money and revenue sharing manipulation and misappropriation of funds. Um, However, I'm not going to go as far as to say that the Dodgers are paper champions or fraudulent champions, because they still had to build this pipeline, this international pipeline that got them Shohei Ohtani, and then got them who's the starting pitcher for them? What's his name?
Oh, Yamamoto.
Yamamoto,
Hmm.
and Sasaki, right? I mean,
Yeah, all these
they
guys.
they've built themselves a pipeline. All right,
Well, the
it's
the thing you have to give them credit on, and it has to go with you saying a pipeline, right? Is how did they get all these players? And a lot of these players, they didn't just pay for. A lot of these guys they went out and traded for with prospects and players that they were developing. They don't play their prospects because they just use them as pieces to get everybody else. You know,
correct,
you never hear about this young kid that came up in the LA Dodgers system that's this young phenom because they go somewhere else and play elsewhere, and that's how the Dodgers get their studs. They're
correct,
constantly moving their prospects. So, we can't call them paper champions because you're right. They built that pipeline. They drafted these kids, they developed these kids, they traded them for other pieces. But it will, if this scheme and everything going on goes the way that we think it's going to go, people down the line will talk about the deferred money and the way they managed it as semi fraudulent.
yeah, and that part of it, I get that's going to be a huge talking point.
Sure.
It's going to be tough to argue against, because there were in many ways, as we've stated already, loopholes that have helped them build the team.
Dirty
None
business.
of Yeah, none of the actual money going to players was illegal. The way that Mark Walter ran his companies is what's illegal, right? I think we
Yes.
need we need to make a very important distinction there. Now, yes, that still gave him the financial power to build this thing the way that he wanted to. So
Correct.
you
In
can
in in a perspective, he can't structure those deals that way.
right, and that's all fair. And now it's going to be somebody else's problem.
Yeah.
So, um, so let's talk about a little bit that's been going on the field. Okay, so the last time that I really talked baseball outside of well, really, it was the trade deadline the last time.
Yeah.
So I've got five sellers here, okay, who are still in the playoff race. Number one, the Orioles. Okay. They traded their franchise catcher. Okay. They just swept the Rays, and they are now what? Uh 2 games or tied for a wild card spot in the American League. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna
But
fact check you right now. I'm pulling
yeah,
up ESPN.
fact check me. They are 1000% in this
Yeah, they're
playoff
they're
race.
they're they're a game and a half out of the wild card race right
A
now.
game and a half out of the wild card race. Okay. And Pete Alonso has an OPS of like 1.16 or something like that for the month of August. So this idea that they shouldn't, okay, I get it. You know what? If they make the playoffs and then they built up their farm system, that's having their cake and eating it too. God bless them. But if they miss the playoffs by a game, right? Because that's a game that Rushman could have helped them. I mean, I don't get it, man. I mean,
I,
your
I
team
don't
is
get
good
it either.
enough, and the American League is terrible. The Orioles have a losing record. So
Yes.
I we had the fan mail from John, cousin Pooch, and he gave every great reason on the planet why the trade was good for the Orioles in the long run because of the prospects. Okay, I get all that. But this is 2026 and we're going into a lockout. Why don't you want to try to win? So,
We also live in a Major League Baseball era where a good catcher is really hard to come by.
yeah,
You
that's the
can't
other thing.
find them. You can't
Yeah,
find them. They don't exist. There's
exactly.
if I really wanted to think hard and put together a list of the top catchers in baseball, I could maybe rattle off 3 to 5 that are actually elite.
Okay, and now what I want you to do is tell me how many of those are switch hitting catchers.
None.
Okay,
None. That's
okay.
not a thing.
It's not a thing. So
He's it.
Adley Rutschman is a superstar.
Yes.
So now as a Yankee fan, I have to deal with him on the Red Sox. It was bad enough that the Orioles looked like they were about to become a super team. To me, they just crapped themselves. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The window was wide open this year. There's no reason they couldn't have made at least a wild card and made a huge amount of noise in the playoffs as
Yeah.
a
The
wild card
American
team.
League is weak.
It's the weakest
Really,
that
the
I've
the,
ever
fa-
seen
the
it.
the fact that the Orioles are a game and a half back, the Orioles' record is 61-66, and they're still a game and a half back from a wild card
Right,
spot.
right. I mean, yeah. And they
I mean,
just, like I said,
just to put into perspective, as a Mets fan, okay, as a Mets
yeah,
fan,
yeah,
we're 10 games out of a wild card spot in the National League. If we
yeah,
were in the American League, we'd only be 5.
right. You'd still have a shot with 33 games or whatever remaining.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
like the AL
it's,
is really weak.
yeah.
Like, and
So
it's wide open.
that's the part that I won't understand from this trade deadline. It's just it was the most bewildering and confusing deadline that I could remember in baseball.
It was
And
odd, but like we talked about, probably, and we talked about it before the deadline. It, Probably because of lockouts looming, it was gonna be wonky. It was gonna be weird.
and
Teams
I
were gonna
get it.
move, and we saw a lot of interdivision trades this deadline, which
Yeah.
aren't normal.
No, the
You
Orioles
know,
trading
we
Rushman to
saw
the Red Sox.
the Orioles and Red Sox making a deal. The Mets and the Phillies made a deal. The Mets traded Brooks Raley to the Phillies, who was a top National League reliever. Like, that doesn't happen in a normal year.
No, no. So it was really, really weird. Um, and then you have the Blue Jays, right? Who are kind of still in it. If you still have that up, I don't know where they're at right now in the playoff race, but listen,
Let
they
me
they
pull that up.
they traded Gosman and Varsho. They added Soriano and Arrighetti. Um, Cease is a Cy Young candidate. I don't think he'll win it, but he's a Cy Young candidate. They've won
Yeah,
six straight series.
they're only a game out too.
They're only a game out. So this was another team that was a big seller at the deadline. Okay, maybe you could argue Varsho because he's also a catcher and they had too many catchers. Okay, fine. But I don't know. And then the Tigers. Okay. The Detroit Tigers traded Tariq Skubal, right? And Mize, and the last time I looked, they were tied for a wild card spot.
They're a game and a half out too, just like the
Okay, they're a
O's.
game and a half out. Okay,
Yep. But again, wide open for them.
wide open. If they keep Skubal, maybe he isn't terrible like he is for the Dodgers right now, and maybe they're a playoff team this year. They still
Yeah.
might be a playoff team this year. The um the Marlins, they sold after what was a 12-game losing streak, so everybody kind of understood that. But um, what are they? They 3 to 5 games out right now. They have a brutal September schedule, but they've been
Four
good. So
games
they're
out.
they're 4 games out. With the amount of games that are left, they're another team that could
They're
sneak into
playing
the
500
playoffs.
ball. They're 64-64.
Yeah, and then
For the Marlins, that's a win. Nobody
that
thought they'd be playing 500 ball in August.
no, no, and again, a 12-game losing streak, literally going into the trade deadline. I mean, everybody was like, "All right, yeah, just sell your big pieces off. You're done. Whatever."
Yep.
Now, now they're in it again. So
Yep.
the Cardinals, okay, they traded May, Nootbaar, and Romero. I think they've won 4 straight series and are
Yep.
now back in the playoff race as well. So five, pretty much like, they didn't sell to the extent of like the Mets and the Giants, but 5 teams that sold that it's questionable what they did
Yeah.
unless they make the playoffs. It's like, okay, now it's like, dude, if you're the Orioles, you better freaking make the playoffs.
Yeah, like if you get like you said a couple minutes ago, if you get to the end of the season and you're the O's and you're like, you missed the wild card by a game, 2 games, it's like Adley's probably winning you those 2 games.
Yeah, man. I
He's
mean,
he's that kind of dude.
yeah, I know that he was hurt for most of the year and all that stuff, but he's still a superstar catcher who I want in my lineup, and
Sure.
he's a big time difference maker. So,
Yep.
was there anything else that you wanted to touch on in baseball? Any Mets news?
I mean, like, it's definitely odd, dude, that they've been 11-3 since the deadline.
I was waiting for it.
And like, I don't know, maybe we give this dude Andy Green a shot at the end of the year, man.
Why not?
I definitely think he's earned an interview at the end of the year to keep the job.
I think if he continues on this pace, it would be insane for them not to interview him.
Yeah, he's done a great job, an excellent job. Like
Yeah.
like if I were to grade him, it would probably be an A. He's been that good.
Now, I think the kids that they brought up have a lot to do with what's going on right now. They've gotten a huge spark from people like Benj.
Dude, Benj is
Um,
a superstar in the making. This kid Ewing is really, really electric. Like he just has a spark.
yeah.
Um, question to me is can Lindor and Soto figure it out? If not, can we trade Lindor? I don't know. I I I I can't figure out what's going on with the two of them. That's going
I,
to be the biggest question mark going into the offseason.
man, I think if you're a Mets fan, you have to pray that whoever manages this team going forward is going to be able to bridge that gap. And
Exactly to mend it.
that's why I've been arguing Alex Cora.
Sure.
Um, I think that he is the type of manager that would resonate with both players,
Yeah.
and they would both kind of, see the idea there and just kind of shape up and get back to baseball. Um,
Of
but
course.
hey, I don't want to take away from what the manager's done right now. He's done an excellent job.
Dude, he's done a great job. I mean, look at some of the weird moves he's made that in from a Mets fan's point of view, we would have been like, what are you doing? But he moved Kodai Senga to the bullpen and made him a closer. And he's had 4 straight saves and hasn't given up a run yet in the ninth inning.
Brilliant move.
I mean, that's a brilliant move. I
Yeah.
have to just applaud that.
Yep, absolutely brilliant move because we thought we were done with Senga, right? We thought we weren't going to
Right.
see him again, probably, unless
I-
he was with a
I-
small market team somewhere.
Yeah, now Mets fans are on Twitter saying, "Oh, we got our closer for 2027 if there's baseball. There won't be baseball, but
Right.
you know,
2028.
no nobody would have everybody wanted him off the team a month and a half ago.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So
everybody
brilliant
was like just
move.
DFA him. Just DFA
Yeah,
him.
yeah. And they called up a bunch of guys from AAA to fill up roster spots after they made their moves. And these guys out of the pen have been pitching great. So I, I have to give credit where credit's due. They're 11-3. I'm not going to be one of these Mets fans that are like, oh, if they go, 32-3 in the next rest of the season, they're going to make the playoffs. Like, they're probably not. I don't think this 11-3 run is sustainable, but it goes to show that hey, this guy could definitely he's worthy of a job at the end of the year. I'm cool with interviewing him at the very least. And the Mets have some really exciting young pieces. Like they have a good offseason in whatever if there's a lockout, but going into 2028, they could turn this thing around quick. It's not far gone. They're not bottom feeders. They're not in the dumpster.
No. No, they're
It's
not.
looking okay.
They're not. And the bottom line is the owner is Steve Cohen. And
Yeah,
Steve Cohen was visibly upset during many interviews this year.
absolutely.
And over the offseason. Now, here's a question I have for you. Um,
Sure.
do you believe, pardon me, that David Stearns should get another year?
I'll tell you this: I don't believe the commitment that Steve Cohen is publicly
I'm not
giving
buying it
out.
either.
I,
I'm
I'm
not
not
buying it
buying the
either.
commitment. I think it could go both ways. Listen, I'm on record saying I think David Stearns went into last offseason gun shy, and I think Steve Cohen put the pressure on him too late, and he just spent, spent with no reason.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe if they get on the same page going into whatever is our next baseball offseason, I don't know if I hate the idea of giving him another shot. I think he crushed the trade deadline.
I do too.
I think he crushed it.
Yeah, and I think it was probably a mandate for him to crush it, considering how the
Absolutely.
season had gone to that point. So
So if we're gonna go off, just recency, yeah, I mean he killed the trade deadline. Am I willing to maybe give him one more shot? Sure, but he's got half a baseball season in my eyes.
fair enough.
You have an off season to make moves, and then you have till All Star break. If by All Star break we're not in position to be a top team in the National League, I want him gone.
Yeah, because at that point, the timing of that would be good because you bring somebody in, they assess the team, they figure out the deadline, they figure out the
Yep.
following off season, and then you hit the next year running.
Yeah, that's it. So I mean,
Um,
I'm not opposed to it. If they want, if Cohen believes in him and wants to give him another shot at it, I'm cool with it. Just because he crushed the deadline, I think he brought in some really nice prospect pieces. And I think he made a really smart move giving Benj a full rookie season. He didn't play the arbitration game, the I want to keep control years for him. He
yeah,
just said this kid's ready to play. I'm putting him out on the field. He called up Ewing when Ewing was ready. So he's been handling the prospects the right way, and I have to give him credit for at least those things.
I wonder how much of a say Stevie Cohen has in these things, or if um, Stearns is operating like fully autonomously. I wonder if Stevie's in his ear, like, "Hey, man, the season's been a disaster. Start calling
Yeah,
these kids up and see what they have." You know, I
he could
think
be.
you've got a strong owner,
He could be.
and I think that I think that the owner, you know, is cares a lot because he doesn't hide from the media. He's doing interviews all the time. There are so many owners that don't do interviews. So I think he cares a lot.
Absolutely. Listen, you can say what you want about him. You and I especially have talked about this over the years. I think he's still in the process of learning how to do this.
Yeah,
He's a first-time owner. He's never done this.
yeah.
And he is doing what he can to build up that area. He wants that to be more of an attraction. That's his vision. That's been his vision since day one. I'm cool with it. There's plenty of other sports areas around the world that have a stadium, a casino, a bar. It's more of an attraction than just going to the game.
I don't have a problem with it. I
That's
really
cool.
don't.
But he does care. Like while he's learning how to do this, and there's going to be hiccups, I'm cool with it because I know he cares. He wants his team to win a championship.
Yeah,
All in all, I know deep down his best interest is this team winning a championship.
I agree fully with that. I've seen enough from him and how he's handled things and how he actually now he's off of X Twitter, right? Because
Yes.
pardon me, like I said, I'm still getting over this being sick. Um, that became a little too much for him. Twit
Yes.
Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. Okay, we're on it on the Four League Report because it's part of our social media outreach. We'd be crazy not to,
Of course.
but it's a cesspool, right? So I don't blame him for not wanting to engage with fans anymore on there. Just do what every other owner does and answer questions from time to time, and you
Yes.
don't you don't have to do more than that. So I think
No.
initially he bit off a little bit more than he could chew. And it's like you said, like we've been talking about. This running a baseball team isn't like running a hedge fund.
No. No. It's different.
So he is learning, and hopefully the upcoming off season for the Mets, if there is baseball, will be much better, and they'll hit the ground running with just have a much better start to the year. So
They should. How's your since you asked me about the Mets, how's your feeling on the Yankees right now?
yeah,
What are you
they
feeling?
suck. They suck. They
I mean, listen, Max Fried to the IL at this point in the year, even though
it,
it looks like a 10 or 15-day stint. It's not a good sign at this point in
yeah,
the year.
listen, we're so reliant on our starting pitching that if anything happens to it, forget it. If we had all three guys going into the playoffs pitching strong, okay, you could make an argument bats get hot in the playoffs. I could get down with that. It was only a matter of time, right? And Fried has been up and down with injuries his pretty much his whole career. I
Yeah.
like Fried a lot, but he's not a guy that's going to last the whole season.
No,
And
realistically, it was only two full, really good years in Atlanta, and then last year for the Yankees, and he's really put together only three really good full seasons.
yeah, and then now Cole at his age, yeah, he looks fine, but what is he, 34, 35? So
Yeah, he's getting up there.
it's it's a lot of now I will give them credit for this. The projects that they took on in the bullpen, because I was screaming from day one, we need more bullpen help. They turned around some of these arms and doesn't really look like they need bullpen help still right now. I mean,
The pitching is not the issue.
no, no, it's an atrocious offense, right? It's especially for Yankee Stadium. And yeah, listen, when you're missing your three, four, five hitters, yeah, your offense is going to be bad. But the problem is for so long this year, we had so many guys that were automatic outs. Now the Yankee fans are questioning whether Jazz Chisholm should even be in the lineup in the playoffs.
Oh, dude, I was on Twitter earlier when I was at work, and I was reading tweets about him just being a designated pinch runner. Like that's what Yankee fans are calling him for. Like he should just run the bases. He's
See,
not good at doing anything else.
I can't go that far with it. Here's the problem. The lineup stinks. So you have to have somebody like
Yeah,
him in there and you
yeah,
hope he has
you
to get
gotta
hot.
play it. Yeah, you gotta hope
Yeah.
he hits
I,
one out.
I I'm not going to take one of my more talented hitters out of the lineup just because he looks like he's unplayable at the moment, you know.
No, but
So
I do know some of our other Yankee friends would prefer Caballero playing second base than him.
yeah, that's fine. Listen, Caballero's a nice player. He really has been a nice player. He's done everything they've asked him to do. If
Yeah,
he ended up being a guy who stepped up at second and stepped up at the plate in a big spot in the playoffs, that wouldn't surprise me. But probability of it happening compared to somebody like Chisholm,
sure,
it's tough, right? It's really tough. You still have to give your better talented guys the benefit of the doubt, even with the slumps that they have going on.
absolutely.
Another little tidbit, yeah, it doesn't look like Judge is coming back. He's
No,
probably not. It doesn't look like Stanton's coming back. You know, everybody keeps saying, "Oh, Stanton's going to come back before Judge." Okay, I don't really see. I don't really see any evidence of Stanton being able to hold up. Stanton hasn't played all year, so
yeah. I
it,
mean,
it
you just got to think if he doesn't come back, right? His career's done, right? He's not playing ball
yeah, he'll
anymore.
have one more year um, on the books, I believe. I'd have to look that up, but I think that he has one more year on the books with the Yankees. Um,
Let me check that.
so yeah, let me let this dog out real quick. Sorry, guys. Crazy dog. Before she starts barking in the background. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, so
overall,
contract for Stanton ends in 2027. The deal's through 2027.
okay. So there you go. So so yeah, we would have one more year of him, which listen, just just release him. Just just release him, and
Listen, if the
just pay
season
him
ends
his
for the
last
Yankees
year.
the way it's going, I mean, I would be a fan of the Yankees going for a retool, but
And
of
they're
some sort.
probably, if we're not going to have baseball next year, right? Which a lot
Yeah,
of us don't
come
think.
2028, you might get to that
Yeah,
point anyway.
because how old will Judge be? We've got some aging players on this roster. It's
Yeah, I mean,
probably
even
going to come to that.
Bellinger's already 32 or 33, so come 2028,
Yeah,
he'll be getting up there.
and I like Bellinger, but man, what a streaky player he is. He's so streaky, and he
Yeah,
is
he
nicked up a
can't keep it
lot.
together. Yep.
So there are so many things that are, you know, not going well for the Yankees right now. So it's tough to have confidence in them even in a weak American League, pardon me. um but yeah, uh past baseball, unless there was anything else you wanted to touch on.
No, I think we touched on pretty much everything for baseball
Yeah.
for sure.
Um some training camp and preseason news from the NFL. We'll start with a couple of moves that happened today. Vita
Yeah,
Vea, who was a hold in, got his 1 year, $30 million extension. He's going to be
big
with the
bag
Bucks
for
for
a
another
year.
year.
Yep,
Yeah.
big
So
bag.
that's been settled. He will be a Buck for at least another year. Um, to me, the much more interesting signing came when the Seahawks signed Trayvon Diggs today.
Yeah, that was a
And
very interesting signing. I agree. I saw that.
why is that interesting? Because it had been reported they were going to sign Terrion Arnold, and it had then been subsequently reported that if they delayed signing him because if they had signed him, he would have immediately been put on the commissioner's exempt list, meaning that he would essentially be put on paid leave. So the team would be paying him not to play.
Yep.
So the Seahawks, I think, said no to that and they signed Trayvon Diggs today. So I don't believe that Terrion Arnold is going to land on a team anytime
The
soon.
fact that this guy's getting any interest, like, listen, I get it. He was a first round talent. Like, he's probably a really talented corner, but like, and he's young. He's only like 24.
Yeah,
Like, this guy's in the midst of going to trial because he's apparently was kidnapping and robbing a place. He kidnapped people and robbed somebody. Like,
yeah, because they
I don't
robbed from
understand it.
him. It was
Yeah,
it's like
it's a whole
it's so
thing.
crazy. It's so I don't know if you've been watching Hard Knocks at all, but
I've just seen
um
some clips. I haven't watched it like full through.
and don't kill me for spoiling it but it has
No, it's
everything
okay.
to do with what's going on here, okay?
Yeah,
They cut to a scene of John Schneider and Jay Harbaugh, the special teams coordinator for the Seahawks, talking about this, right? And Harbaugh was asked him a question. He's like, "But if he were on our team, the Lions cut him. Wouldn't we have cut him?" And Schneider was like, "Yeah, we probably would. The article in the Athletic was bad. Yeah, we would have had to cut him." And then um Harbaugh basically said like, okay, well then why would we, in a roundabout way, kind of alluded to well then why would we be interested in signing him? You know what I mean?
right, right.
Like very, very strange dynamic here
Yeah,
with this whole deal. Like
it's odd.
it's one thing to give a player a second chance after their legal um battle or whatever you want to call it has been settled,
Yep.
right? Vic went to prison for 2 years. The Eagles signed him. That's a second chance. That's a legit second chance. This has not even been resolved yet,
Yeah.
and there were teams that were. I get picking up the phone. That's due diligence. You're trying to figure things out as the GM. You see a
I'm
24-year-old
I'm pretty sure the
superstar.
Giants gave him a tryout.
The Giants gave him a tryout. The Jets called him. So
Yep.
I know that he's been getting calls. His agent's been, phone has been ringing off the hook ever since the Lions cut him.
Yep.
I don't see a path to him landing on a roster now.
Not at least until this thing gets figured out.
Yeah,
It's got to be some clarity on the situation.
yeah. So very, very interesting signing today with them going with Trayvon Diggs. I think kind of turning the page.
Yeah, it is. I mean, listen, they released him only a few months ago, the Cowboys, right? Like, he wasn't an early cut. He was a late cut, I think.
I think he was a late cut. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
believe he
I mean,
was.
a lot of Cowboys fans were surprised by the cut. I mean, he had a down year last year. I don't think he played very good ball last year, but
I think that's why. I think compared to the money, they just wanted to free up the cap, whatever. The Cowboys have been juggling cap for
yeah,
a few years now,
yeah.
so
But I
I
think
think
there's still some
performance.
talent there. So like adding him
Yeah.
to Seattle, I think is a nice little move.
Oh yeah. If that could end up being a nice little nugget for them there. So
Sure,
we'll see how that plays out.
absolutely.
Speaking of the Cowboys, they've been having joint practice with the Saints, and there were 6 fights yesterday or the day before, I believe,
Yep.
where Scott Steiner's son, who's a wide receiver for the Saints, essentially suplexed one of the
Yeah,
Cowboys.
I saw that. I saw that.
That's very funny. But
Another interesting thing out of that camp is rookie Caleb Downs. I don't really think is having a nice camp over there.
so I haven't really been reading a whole lot about him. Yeah, have you been seeing that it's not been going well for him, or what's been going on?
Yes, there's been some reports that Olave's been cooking him a little bit in those joint practices. He's been getting cooked over the top by the Saints.
Well, rookie is rookie, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
these guys who are established superstars in the NFL, they're established superstars for a reason,
yes.
and it's
And Olave just got paid, so he probably feels like he's got something to prove.
yeah, it's very rare for guys to just come in and dominate. Hey, we want to touch on another rookie who I thought was going to be good, Sonny Styles. That
Yeah,
that last preseason game, man, he did not look good. And
he
it's
did
just
not look good at
preseason.
all.
I don't want to go too crazy here. That doesn't mean the player can't be good. I, but you were looking for some signs of, hey, this is why we took this guy in the first round, and I just didn't see any of that. So,
No, I didn't see any of that either. Which is
um,
the opposite of what we saw in our first round picks because Reese and Bailey look like the real deal.
yeah, Reese flying all over the ball, making tackles. Looked like he knew what was going on. Looked like he fit
Yeah,
into the defense really nicely. Um, and then yeah, Bailey had 6 snaps. Wasn't super dominant, but played nicely against the run and
yeah. And
has had a
every
nice
report out of
pressure up the
camp for
middle.
him, every report out of camp for him has been he's sick off the edge.
Oh, if you're listening to the Jet beat reporters, they're telling you that he's the best player on the field for
Yeah,
the Jets right
period.
now. That so
Period.
the hype around him it seems to be real because the guys who are reporting this are not usually hype men like Rich Cimini. Rich Cimini will give you if anything, he'll give you a reason to doubt before he'll give you hype.
Yes.
Um, and then people like Connor Rogers, all these type of people who report on the Jets, all have nothing but good things to say. So we'll see in the next preseason game or two. But
These young defenders are going to be interesting to watch this year coming out of this draft.
yeah, it was heavy on defense, and yeah, man, it's really going to be interesting because what was it? I think it was how many defenders in the top 10?
I want to
Like
say it was
five?
it was at least 5 or 6. It was
Yeah,
at least
so
5 or 6 defenders in that top 10.
it was pretty heavy. So
Yeah.
yeah, um, we'll see what's going on there. But yeah, I think the Giants. I watched their game, and
Yeah.
I think that this is not what a Harbaugh team looks like yet. I think that they still have a lot of work to do, but there were some nice signs, right? There were some signs on the defense, although the run defense I think might still be a question. There were some signs on offense, although I think blocking, especially in pass protection, is still a big question with them on offense. I don't think they're going to have a terrible time running the ball. I think in that offense they're going to be able to run the ball.
No,
Um,
I'm bringing in Najee Harris is a little bit of an interesting move.
yeah, so let's talk about that. I don't think that this means that Tracy's job is getting taken. If anything, I think this means that Scott's workload is going to get cut into because they're not similar type of backs. I think Najee Harris is a proven back in the NFL. I think he has the most 1,000-yard seasons in the last, or he is tied for the for fourth in the last 5 years when it comes to 1,000-yard seasons.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's a slouch.
No, so I don't think it hurts Tracy. Listen, Najee Harris's build is it's his prototype is more similar to Scott's for sure. So they're very similar runners north-south guys, bigger dudes. Tracy's still going to be used in passing downs because he can catch the ball. He's a wide
Yeah.
receiver converted running back. So,
And he is
um,
good in pass protection. He has proven to be good in pass protection in
yes,
his
he's been
career.
good in pass protection. That play in the preseason game was blown out of proportion. Um, I just do think they wanted to bring in a bigger back to be the third back in the room. I think Najee, if healthy, is going to see the field. I think it just means Singletary's going to be the odd man out. I think Singletary's going to get the boot.
Yeah, you're probably right. I could see that being the
I
case.
just I think Singletary's a smaller back. I think he really does exactly what Tracy does. So I think he's really the odd man out.
Yeah, I think they would rather have a couple of guys, a couple of really big backs to cycle
Yeah,
through.
you got the room would be Scat, Tracy. You'd have Harris, and then you'd have Patrick Ricard at fullback. So you got three big bodies, and then you got Tracy, who's gonna catch passes out the backfield. It's a nice room.
I I'm very curious, and I don't know if it's true what I read, but pardon me, it would be really cool to see the Giants do their own version of the tush push with not Jackson Dart, but with Patrick Ricard
I read that.
under center.
Yes, that would be awesome. I love that idea. I read that that was something they are working on in camp, and I'm for it, dude. If they pull
Absolutely.
if they pull out week one and they have a goal line stand on the 1 yard line against Dallas, and they roll him out for the tush push and they score a touchdown, bro, MetLife Stadium would absolutely erupt.
Oh yes, and then you'd have Scott behind him pushing him. He'd be
Yeah,
the he'd be the tush push guy.
it would be great, dude. It would be great.
Yeah, I think that they should implement that. I hope that they actually do that.
Listen, I'll be real with you, bro. I think people are sleeping and there was a lot of smoke about, this kid Malachi Fields out of camp, oh, Plaxico 2.0, and then he comes out and on the first drive of the preseason and scores that sick touchdown. Like, I think this team's got weapons. I think Isaiah Likely is going to be a nice piece. I think if Neighbors is healthy, he's going to have a sixth season. Like, if things go right for the Giants, it's only looking up.
I'll be happy to be wrong about Fields because I really thought that he was going to have a hard. And listen, no, none of these rookies have proven anything yet. But
Sure, of
I
course
thought
not. It's
I
just good
thought,
signs.
yeah, it's very good signs, and he was a big part of the offense. And my question with him coming in was if he's just a 50-50 catch guy and couldn't separate from people, how effective could he really be? I'm seeing
Sure.
signs that he's separating from people.
Yeah.
So, that's been good. And then all this OBJ talk about, well, is he going to make the team? I think he's going to make the team. I
I
th-
do
I
too.
th- I think he's been showing out during camp. I think he looks great. I think he's a really good veteran player for these other cats on the team, like a Neighbors who also looks good. So yeah, dude,
Yep.
I think they're being slept on too. I have them winning 10 games and making the playoffs. Now,
Yeah.
that could be crazy. That could be overshooting it. We have to keep in mind that the first year of this Harbaugh team, I don't think there's going to be a mandate without, there's certainly not going to be a mandate to make the playoffs. I think
No,
what,
I don't think so.
for the most part, what you're going to have this year, and hopefully they could be competitive at the same time, is Harbaugh is going to figure out who his guys are, right?
Yes.
And then everybody else is going to get weeded out.
Yep.
And that's what happens when new coaches come in. So this is a big year in when it comes to the idea of how fast can they hit the ground running with what they already have, you
Yep.
know? So,
Bro, and he's already setting the tone. It's funny you said that about him weeding his guys out. Like he's already set the tone. Like today they traded a guard to Jacksonville for a 6th round pick. And Daniel Falali, God bless.
thank you.
And Daniel Falali is a guard that played 16 games for John Harbaugh in Baltimore last year.
Yeah,
So
and
that's a guy that's got a track record with him. And after a full training camp and one preseason game, there's a rookie, JC Davis, out playing that guard. And John Harbaugh's like, all right, cool, I'm gonna ship you out.
yeah, I think this was the easy way for them to just make that decision now, not wait until cutdown day and get a draft pick out of it. So
Yep.
absolutely, like why not,
Yeah.
I think it was a great move. It was like you said, the foresight. You have a guy there, younger player who's playing better. Just play him.
Yeah,
So yeah, there's no reason not to have confidence in a John Harbaugh coach team. There is questions of how long it'll take to get the ship turned fully, but I think that they could be competitive enough to win 10 games and make the playoffs. So that's what I
yeah,
predicted in the NFL preview show, and I'm sticking to it. It doesn't necessarily mean that Dart has to have a monster year. Dart does not have to have a monster year for the Giants to win 10 games. John Harbaugh, his bread and butter came from special teams before he became a head coach. What have the Giants been really terrible at for the last 15
oh
years?
my God, they've been
Special
awful at
teams.
special teams.
Their special teams is about to make a huge turnaround. Okay.
Yeah,
And just from that alone, okay, I think you're going to see a big difference in the competitiveness of the team. I think the field position will be much more in their favor. I think the idea is to slow the game down, possession, you know what I mean? Time of possession, take the clock off, keep the game tight until the end of the game. Do whatever you can do to keep it a game and then try to win it at the end. I think that's going to be the formula for this team.
yep. They're gonna play smash mouth football, dude. They're gonna try to play good defense. Special teams has to be, A plus, and they're gonna run the football. Jackson Dart's gonna run the football. They're gonna use a tandem of running backs. I think all four of the guys that we've mentioned, whether it's Harris, Tracy, Scadaboo, or Ricard, like everybody's touching the ball. All of
Yeah,
them. They're all
agree.
touching the ball.
And why not? Why
Yeah,
why wouldn't you? You have all this talent back there. They all do certain things really well. Let them cycle through these backs. Hey, it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Scat's back there.
yeah.
That's fine. So I think that that's exactly what we're going to see this year. Um, there's been a debate amongst or I should say, there's been chatter in the circles throughout the league that these joint practices that are going on will eventually replace the preseason games. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but definitely something to keep an eye on. Every team does these joint practices. From what I understand, there aren't any teams left that don't do it. Um, so I think that's something to pay attention to. If these teams that they think that they could get just as much out of joint practices and then a game like scrimmage, and that takes away a preseason game, I don't see why that might not happen in the future, especially when they keep talking about what Roger Goodell spoke the other day and said that he could absolutely see or envision team, expansion outside of the country, which we all have known has probably been, discussed for years now and is
It's
probably
coming.
not too far. It's coming. So what are we looking at? A 40 team league, with 20 games played possibly and 2 bye weeks. I think that's what we're looking at in the future. So just something to keep your eye on.
Well,
And
and keep in mind too, we're only a week through preseason. Teams have only played one game, and we've already had a plethora of players hurt, injured.
yeah,
Missing time, missing a month, missing 2 months, season-ending injuries. I mean, it's crazy.
yeah, so I was just about to touch on that as well. So the season ending injuries, Higgins for the Texans. Oh
Which is a
man,
big blow. Jaden Higgins is a
that's
good player for them.
that's not something that they needed right now. They're just getting Tank Dell back. I mean,
Yeah,
there
I
were
mean, Higgins is a nice piece for them on the outside, dude. That's a
yeah,
big blow for them.
yeah, dude, that's a huge blow. Ricky Pearsall, really weird circumstances around this one, has been injured apparently.
Yeah, got
I
a
don't
really
know.
late surgery, and now he's out for the season.
Yeah, and then Jamal Adams, goes down non-contact. He's done his knee, and then Brazel for what was it? The Panthers
Yep.
receiver, he's out for the year. And then yesterday, the report came out, Baez for the Chargers center,
Yep.
huge player for them, a massive loss for them, out indefinitely. So we
Yep.
don't even know how long he's going to be gone for. The short term, Kamara, Hall, Hubbard, Nakua, Agbuka, Manungai, and I say short term, but really Jordan Tyson, that's looking like 2 months.
Dude, I was listening to the radio on my way to work this morning, and whatever show I was listening to, I forget what show it was talking about Jordan Tyson. Um, and dude, like, there's people that think that there's a chance he gets shut down for his whole rookie season, that he may
Yeah,
not play football this year.
yeah. For me, 2 months I mean, 2 months from now is October 20th.
Yeah,
So if it's that serious, I could see them doing it, and then just get
sure.
him prepared, get long recovery time, to get ready for the next season.
Right, because you got to figure by then, by October 20th, if that was the date per se, the Saints got to know where they're at by that point.
Yeah. Um, and then, some star recovery watches. Mahomes, he kind of looks like he's ahead of schedule. I don't see any problems here.
He's gonna play week 1.
He's going to play. Um, Micah Parsons still targeting an early season return. I think he's going to be fine for it. I think they're just giving him pretty much the preseason to rest and recover still and just get right. He doesn't. If there's any player in the league that could go without it, it's probably Micah Parsons. So,
It's definitely Micah Parsons.
um, but yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the injuries, unless I missed any. I don't think so.
No,
But
there's no. I don't think there was any other big injuries.
so yeah, another thing that we're gonna be doing in the future, hopefully, is we're gonna pick up with the digital um streaming of the NFL games, like the one that we did for the Hall of Fame game. And again, that's through Creator Sports Network, and that's a really awesome opportunity. I think we'll both be looking forward to
Oh, I'm
having a
stoked about
hand in
that.
that going forward. Yeah, I mean, the they gave us the link, and that link is good for the whole year. So
Yeah. I
we
mean, listen,
pick what games.
the first simulcast was cool. Like we discussed, there was a couple little things with it that definitely need to be improved, which I think will over time. But I
Yeah,
think it was a really cool thing.
yeah, I think the technology will absolutely get better. I think what makes it really cool is it gives us the opportunity to stream these games legally,
Yeah.
right? Because we wouldn't be able to do so otherwise, and talk about them while we're
Yeah.
streaming them. Now
Which
that
is
was just
super sick.
preseason. Yeah, so that was just preseason. It's
Oh
going to
yeah.
be awesome. I think maybe what the goal will be, because I know you and I probably enjoy Red Zone and enjoy watching our teams during the day. The Jets won't be on prime time at all this year, so that won't be a problem for me. The Giants are a different story, but maybe you'll pick those games up if you want. It's up to you.
Yeah. Hundred
I
percent.
what I'm thinking we'll do is, we'll pick one prime time night game a week, and we'll stream it, and then that'll be our way of being able to have those conversations, and
Yeah. I love
get
that.
to get some buddies in there that love talking ball with us. So
Oh yeah. I love that, dude. I definitely love that. Yo, and since we're both going to the week 3 Giants Titans, I
yeah.
think we'll have to do a little short tailgate episode for week
So
3.
so I'm happy you brought that up, because the second that you said that you and Matt were going to be there, I was like, oh, perfect. We'll actually be able to do a little four league report segment,
Yep.
at the game,
Right
maybe a little
outside of
pregame.
MetLife.
Yeah, right
Yep.
outside of MetLife, a little pregame while we're tailgating,
Love that.
and maybe a little post game.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Um, excuse me, but yeah, looking forward to it. Really, really excited that football is back, man. I
Dude,
think,
I'm so ready. I could not be
yeah,
more
man,
ready.
I know, but we'll we'll put together another episode sooner than later. Again, I'm sorry that it's it's been so long. I've just been down for the count, but
Yeah, dude, gotta get your
um,
rest.
yeah. But hey, and now with Rich on board, we're gonna be able to we do content when we want. I want to. My goal personally is to get this flagship podcast out there, 2 to 3 times a week at minimum. I don't want it to be a once a week show. I think we're better than that. I think we could provide more than that because there is so much to talk about in sports throughout the whole year. So if we're really trying to do this thing, my opinion is like, let's do it. So
Oh, dude, once we get into the fall and there's things to talk about and things to post up, like I'll be sharing content. I'll be out here.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So I want to thank my new co-host, Rich Tatello. Thank you for joining the Four League Report with me, and we look
Dude, thank
forward
you for
to
having me.
yeah, bro. We look forward to everything that's coming to us in the future and just talking ball because that's what we love to
That's
do.
it. Just
But
ball. That's all we want.
thanks for tuning into this episode, and we will see you soon.
Thank you.
Peace.